It says students and families identified lack of student support, class size, deteriorating school facilities, high teacher turnover, and outdated curricular resources as the highest priority issues facing our schools. How would you partner with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems and meet the needs of students?
Okay, this is pretty personal to me because my son has been in SPED since first grade. Um, and SPED has, every year, honestly, I worry if my Jordan's teacher is going to come back because of the lack of support. Oh, there's a high turnover rate with, and worrying about as with the mild to moderate and the moderate to severe, are they really keeping up with the curriculum? Are they at grade level? Are they preparing our school students for independent living skills? And so this is something that's really, really personal to me, and how I would partner up with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems. You know what? Honestly, I would continue to do what I do now, is really just being in full communication with, like I said, with Jordan's caseworker now. Thinking outside the box. How can we bring revenue back into the school site? Not just talking about selling off property and leasing the property out. How can we bring revenue and keeping our children, because it's really, for me, it's about keeping our children safe. By educating them and giving them opportunities, you are protecting them. And so I would have to figure out, and I would again reach out to the community to see how we can protect and partner with you guys to sit down and go, this is what's working and what's not working, and what's not working, how can we change it for it to be in a positive. Like again, I want the board member, say if I didn't win, I would want the board member to reach out to you guys to go, what is going on the campus? What can we do to change? Keeping in contact with you guys, set goals and keeping up with those goals. Oh, okay. I think I ran out of time.
You're good, you're good.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So that question is really personal because it has affected me. It's affected my son Jordan.
Mhm.
I mean, all his teachers are. I've always been hands-on. I have to be hands-on with my son. I've always been hands-on the school campuses, school sites. But there, as a parent, there's always that fear of the turnover. Are his teachers going to be there next year? Because children need stability. They need to have this stability. And I've always are like, what? And then my next thing is he at grade level? Is he at grade level? Can he compete with other students in other schools? And can he do that? And that's always been a fear of mine. So I've always been hands-on, making sure that not only Jordan, but I'm going on. He's been really fortunate with autism kids, and there are a lot of high boys. He's been traveling with these boys since the first grade. So I'm pretty close to them. So I'm really protective over them. And so I'm like, we need to make sure that they are able to succeed. And so he's really had, I've seen the teachers not having support from the district, and it's hard. And as a parent, I'm witnessing that. That means that you are ignoring my child and our children as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Okay, sorry.
That's okay. So the question is, students and families identified lack of student support, class size, deteriorating school facilities, high teacher turnover, and outdated curricular resources as the highest priority issues facing our schools. How would you partner with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems and meet the needs of students?
Yeah, well, that's kind of the whole shooting match right there. I think that's it in a nutshell. I think um, a district like Oakland has, you know, $600 million budget every year to work with. It's difficult to be able to spread that money out in equitable ways across the district when so many of our facilities are in fairly bad shape. I mean, there's a lot of deferred maintenance that's happened over the years, and that's a challenge that we can't just wave a magic wand and have it go away. So I mean, I think there's going to be some hard choices about how we get funding and how we receive bond money, for example, in order to do the kinds of financial commitments that are needed to make facilities more not deteriorating. I mean, to bring them up to standards. Class size and lack of student support. I mean, I think those are sort of the core issues that face every school district. We want to be able to provide resources so that we can have smaller class sizes, but we also need to make sure that we're providing teachers with the support that they need even when they have larger classes, so that they're able to provide the kinds of educational experiences that they need. And you mentioned curriculum, outdated curricular resources. I think that's a key area where we could really focus in Oakland. We've had a terrible issue with literacy in Oakland schools. And some of those challenges are due to the fact that we haven't had a structured literacy program that really helps kids get to a full grade level reading ability by the time they're in third grade. And that is something that is going to be continually impacting the community around further learning, right? I mean, reading is the sort of the gateway to all other forms of education. So kids need that kind of foundational skill in order to be able to move forward in classes. So I think investing heavily, especially in the K through 3 grade levels, for a structured reading program and structured literacy programs, so that we can bring those numbers up and really change the trajectory that students are on. Bringing class sizes down, of course, would be great, and bringing down and dealing with the facilities is also important, but providing the support for teachers so that they can really teach reading and get kids excited about the possibility of learning because they know how to read.
Thank you.
Students and families identified lack of student support, class size, deteriorating school facilities, high teacher turnover, and outdated curricular resources as the highest priority issues facing our schools. How would you partner with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems and meet the needs of students?
Okay, as a parent that volunteered nearly 1,000 hours some years in school sites and was on the school site councils, PTAs, you really have to talk with and have a resource of some way of documentation of the things that are needed on your school site. And that is going to vary. We have 87 school sites within our district, but from the folks that are on staff and who are there on a regular basis, we need to talk about that. And I mean everything, even from, like, I know at certain school sites, the bathrooms are entirely too cold and they have been around since 1940s. And me personally, I'm a bit bougie about the bathroom. I need some heat when I need to take a seat. So, I mean, we just have to ask our students on every, from pre-K all the way up to 12th grade, what are the sites that you need for the school site? Have you been able to view around your school site? And what do you think would be better for you? And that has to do with, like, classrooms and equities of students who don't have any windows or ventilation in some of their classrooms. When you talk about your playgrounds or your ground settings, how do you feel from the inside to the outside? Interiorly, how does it feel for you as a student, as a teacher, as a staff and administrator, and as a necessity support staff there? And outside looking in, for when my son was in high school, there were a lot of young women that felt uncomfortable with many cars circle around their areas. And we know that Oakland is a high point for many dark tragedies for our young ladies. And so our school sites need to be safe, not just inside, but also surrounding our school site areas. And that's something that we have to document on a regular basis. We have to have it so visually so everyone will be able to see. We have to know what are our students' rights and what are our parents' rights for when things are equitable at the school sites and how they can immediately change them. Not that it would happen next year, but something that needs to happen definitely within a short period of time frame.
Thank you.
Slow down. Students and families identified lack of student support, class size, deteriorating school facilities, high teacher turnover, and outdated curricular resources as the highest priority issues facing our schools. How would you partner with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems and meet the needs of students?
Thank you. So again, for too long, we have been decimated on purpose, and so it's our job to collectively organize. It is our job to collectively organize and build community schools, and really bring parents into the conversation and the community organizations. I am a union member. I understand what it takes to have these conversations. And I think that during this pandemic, we all know that the healthcare and job security is tantamount to how we bargain. We really have to bring a level of educator involvement to these conversations. I think that it would be, my job on the board to listen to all stakeholders, especially to parents and communities. I will make it my job to have an oversight committee to have parent involvement in the issues that matter to them most. We need to make parents a part of the budget decision moving forward, because we know that a disproportionately amount of our facilities have been gentrified. And if our parents in the community are not able to have a voice to these particular changes in the neighborhood, then we're not doing them a service. It's important for us to work together. We know that schools and community will help us out. I will continue to use that $12 billion of resource for students who deserve it.
Okay. Students and families identified lack of student support, class size, deteriorating school facilities, high teacher turnover, and outdated curricular resources as the highest priority issues facing our school. How would you partner with teachers, students, and families to solve these problems and meet the needs of students?
Okay, so those are all the major things. It's everything. So there's a high turnover of teachers, and I've already been talking about thank you, the lack of physical support in the schools being deteriorating. So I won't go into that. Textbooks and materials. There's this place in the budget that they put for textbooks and they never spend it. Supplies don't make it to the schools. This is all just completely crazy. If you just ran the school well, if you put your money and your priorities on what makes it to the classroom, then you would, and you also actually listened to what teachers say about what things they want adopted as their modern textbooks. But yes, I know this experience. I had to teach out of the same Spanish book for 14 years. And I don't think I ever actually taught out of a district textbook, because I always found something else I could do. So the turnover is also, and the overcrowded classrooms, that's all connected, but we need to completely redo downtown so that it understands its function is to support the classroom and not to feather its own nest. Phew, every single day, there's just teachers trying to give what they can, and then you have turnover because they get burnt out. So I would say that if this board can set a policy and insist that all staff put classrooms first, then all of those issues will go to the front of the line, and that's what we'll deal with.
Thank you.
Thank you.